All right. So we are here with. Introduce yourself.
Klaus Miner of the Scorpions. Kyle Thomas.
Vincenzo.
Vincenzo.
LaBella.
Big Daddy V.
How y'all doing?
Of Exhorder.
Exhorder, yes.
That's right.
Of course.
Now, you guys are back after many years of being absent. What led to this reunion?
Corey?
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman is the reason we are doing this. This is true.
Yeah, actually, we were. He was the catalyst. Let's put it that way. He wound up at a club back home in New Orleans where we kind of go. His bands play there, and me and my old lady went, and he was there with his wife, and we ended up watching about 3 songs of Corey Feldman and got tired of the fucking shit, and we went outside and we just started talking, and one thing leads to another, and somebody said, "Hey man, how about this again?" And you know, it happened. It was that easy, you know. It was no grand plan. There was no scheme or thing,
No,
you know.
it just kind of, it literally was that boring. It was, yeah.
How long did it take of your rehearsal time to get back into shape?
Well, that's probably a better Vinny question because there's a lot more probably physical effort that goes into the music delivery than the vocal delivery. The hard part for me is making sure I'm in shape physically for the performance, because vocally it's easier to sing than any other thing that I sing, but to deliver that live show I got to be in really good shape, so I will defer to the musicians.
Yeah, he's a machine. He always has been. He can, you know, I mean, I'm sure, you know, he's got his things he's got to do, but I mean, I can always count on him being ready whenever I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? So if it takes me 2-3 months or 6 months to get the guys all in shape to do it, he's going to be ready, no matter what no matter how long it takes. But I tell you what, man, you know, in short, it does take a lot to do it, especially now. You got 3 new guys.
We'll get to that.
You know, for me, it's like riding a bike. You know, of course, I got to condition and get used to, you know, getting the juices.
As riding a bike would entail.
Exactly. I haven't been on a bike for fucking 30 years either. So anyway, I think this run actually took the least amount of time that we've ever taken.
It speaks volumes for the guys that are playing with us now because they whipped into shape very quickly. And
Did
they
you
worked very hard.
Did you face any challenges while doing this?
Yeah, you know, musically, no. I think the biggest challenge always is when you get a new guy in the band, the riffs and the style is not of the cookie cutter variety of thrash or, you know, any other genre of metal. There's a certain feel that you need to possess, and there's a couple of new things you need to learn technically, physically, to be able to come in and out of passages correctly and smoothly. So those are the only challenges, but these guys are so talented, you know, they picked it up very quick.
They've all got very good resumes too, so.
Absolutely.
At this point, 2 of you are the only returning original members. How come the other guys didn't want to be involved, or what is it that's going on with them?
Chris, I think, is just too busy. I think life happens for Chris right now. He runs his business. He has a family. You know, it's just really, really tough. Not that the rest of us don't have families, but it's just not in the cards for him right now. I think he would like to be here, but it's just bad timing, I think. I know Jay's busy with a new aspect of his life. I think he's doing something in like phone app developments or something he's dived into. And of course, we can't have Frankie in the band because Frankie is no longer with us. So Jason is probably the longest tenured guy with us right now. Yeah, he stepped into the fold in 2010, 2011-ish.
Right.
And but he goes back further with us because he actually auditioned for a version of the band that never happened in 1993 when we broke up for good at that time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We got back together and we just started putting the pieces together.
Who else do you have with you that's new in the band, besides Jason?
Well, we got Marzi, Montezeri, which, you know,
Monet.
he's got his, Mars is a staple in the metal community, man. He's a guru on guitar, sweetheart guy, man, so I couldn't have been happier. He got Marzi involved. Jason's been around forever, so, you know, I've been knowing Jason personally about 27-ish years or so, 25 years, so he's like a brother, you know, to us. Sasha was brought in by Jason. He was involved in a project that I was working on with him and Jason on the side, and we just kind of morphed it back into Exhorder. So we brought Sasha with us instead of doing that. So Sasha was just a perfect fit. And the best part is we got good, solid people.
That's huge for sure.
It's huge. Not just musicians, but people. You know, and I believe that's what keeps bands together and keeps everybody focused. You know, you got to be a decent person, man. Y'all got to at least be cut of the same cloth for it to work any time, any length of time.
Now, at this point, you managed to play shows on 2 continents. What is the response like?
It's been good. It's been really good. I'd like to say I'm surprised, but you know, well, I'm not surprised, but I am. You know?
It's nice that this many years away, I joked with him more than once that I wish that every job that I ever had, I could walk away for 10 years and come back and get a raise. Because it seems like every time we come back after a long hiatus, the interest in the band is higher and higher and higher. So at this point, all we can really do is go out and deliver the legend as we did it back then, the best that 40-something and 50-something-year-old bodies can do. And so far, it's been great. The most encouraging thing to me is the amount of young people that are in the crowd. There's been a lot of kids, a lot of 20-somethings, and these are people that were not alive when this was happening back in the day. So give it to the generations before them for showing them the way.
Yeah, somebody had to pass it down. As a matter of fact, I was out front of the hotel a couple of hours ago, and these 2 guys walked by, and they were biggest day, you know, Exhorder badges and shit on, and we talked to them, and one was 19, the other one was 20, and they had just discovered us a year ago. You know, I'm like, he said, you know, we've been around on and off for 30 years. He's like, well, yeah, we didn't know, you know, we just had no clue. But somebody turned them on, you know, that's the metal community, right? I mean, that's how we're still here. The fans are still here, the musicians are still here, the influences are there, and it makes people want to start bands and play instruments, man. And that's why this genre will never die.
Now, obviously, you did great live, but will there be any new studio recordings?
Okay, so look, not supposed to answer that question. But you know, maybe we are, maybe we're not.
So let's keep it a mystery. Let's keep it a mystery. If it happens, it happens.
Let's just say we've sat down and batted some ideas around, and we like the direction that those ideas are heading in, so there's a very strong possibility that something could be in the works.
I mean, after all, you guys are creative musicians. That's always going to happen.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
or maybe we know. Maybe we just ride the train.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me again in about 3 months, I'll be able to answer you.
I think next week you're going to have a new answer.
Okay, there we go. Awesome.
Somebody knows better than we do.
Let's talk some history. Like you said, a lot of new fans, they want to know about the band. So when did the band form initially?
That would be also a Vinny question, because I was the last one to join.
Yeah, but he came along quick. It was 84 when I had the first inkling to do it. Mm-hmm. And I knew I didn't want to do what I was doing at the time, which was playing in a local cover band. It was doing like some Raven, Metallica covers and shit, you know, we were just kind of fucking off. And then me and the bass player, Andy, from that band, decided we wanted to go off and do something original. And so it took a little bit, but around 1985-ish, Mid '85, we found Chris and got everybody in order.
David Main was in the
yeah, right.
band
That's
too.
right. I almost forgot David Main. So 3 of us left that band to go do this, and then he wound up being the last piece of the puzzle. We found him loitering outside of a DRI show.
At 16 years old.
He didn't even have any dick hair. I was like,
Well, that's
"Hey,
because I
dick hair?"
pulled them all out. The friction.
Yeah, so Andy actually comes up and he says, "Hey man, there's a dude over here says he can sing." And he wants to, I said, "Well, fuck it, come on." So yeah, we were about maybe 3-4 months into songs, and then Kyle came in, and it was like magic, man. And that's how it happened with Exhorder. It was, we didn't have to go through a litany of people to get to the end result. Dave was the first guy. Andy was the first guy. I was the first guy. Chris Nail was we didn't have big tryouts and had a bunch of people coming in and out of the place. He was brilliant from day one. So it was lightning in a bottle,
Now, the name Exhorder, what does that mean?
Actually, Chris came up with that, right?
Yeah, I think he came up with the word, and you helped him with the play on words, if I remember correctly. Chris came in with the word exhort, and felt it was a strong word, powerful word, which exhort means to heavily persuade somebody. So then it was, well, what about exhorter? But it still had a T. I think that's when you suggested, why don't we change the T to a D and make it a mixture of exhort and order, and make it even more forceful, so it's really forceful persuasion. And
Right. It's its own word.
Yeah.
Also, so having bands come in and trying to copy it or whatnot, because we didn't trademark anything back in the day, we did now, but back in the day it was, who's gonna want to be that same word?
we didn't think back then about the possibilities down the line of, we surely never thought we'd be sitting in a club in Chicago talking about it 30-something years later. We were really more just worried about making angry young man music for us to vent our frustrations out on, and worried about where we were getting our next beer.
Yeah.
Now, when you formed, what were your initial influences? What did you aspire to be like at that time?
He had a lot, man. You'd probably be here all day if you ask him.
Yeah. Of course, but I grew up on Kiss and Queen and Led Zeppelin and eventually Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne and such, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden. But around that time, I was really diving into hardcore, so I was learning about Corrosion of Conformity and Dead Kennedys, Circle Jerks, Bad Brains, all that stuff, and it really spun me around in how I thought, mentally, musically, everything. It's a way of life, punk rock is, and we were really into that crossover thing. So we were listening to Metallica, Slayer, and Destruction, and all kind of good stuff. We just said let's play in that style, in that vein, without trying to emulate anybody, and just do it our own way.
Right.
How long did it take before the labels became interested in your band?
Shit, that was. It took a while.
Maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, around 87, 88. What's funny is we were actually turned down by a lot of labels because of we got things like we were too cliche. We used the term death too much, and go figure. Like 5 years later, death metal came out. Everybody was
right.
The same thing we we're doing. So, but we were actually turned down by a couple, and then we started picking up a little more steam. I would say around. We started in 85, 86. I'd say around 88, it started to, pique some interest.
The first 2 guys in the industry that really, really zeroed in on us were Voivod Krieg and Monty Connor, and they both had believed in this project from day one in a strong way. So we definitely owe a lot to them for their interest in this band.
Absolutely.
As to why we're here.
Now, by 1990, you released your first record, Slaughter in the Vatican. And from what I understand, you guys were not pleased with certain sound aspects of that album.
Yeah.
Even though, if no one ever heard the band before, it's a solid album.
The demos that we did for that album have a much different feel. Maybe just some kind of way, not all of the parts were either recorded properly, tone-wise, or, just for some reason, the label felt they'd rather start over. And as it progressed, it just, I don't know, it's good, and it sounds like a, you know, for a low budget recording, it's not so bad. And we're proud of it because it stands the test of time, and people to this day hold it as a high cult classic, I suppose. But for what we were as a live band and what we knew we were supposed to sound like, it just didn't meet our expectations in that regard. So that's the beauty of
The closest I think,
today with technology. We can
yeah,
do
today
whatever we want
it's
to.
different. I think the closest that anyone got to sounding would like the way they wanted to sound was him, because it's just a matter of a microphone, and you know he can do it all with his voice. Our guitar tones were not represented. You know, the sounds we would, and tones that we would get in our rehearsal space and live were not portrayed on the record. You know? And that's the only thing. And like you said, it's a good record. We're proud of it, both of them. But they weren't exactly what we intended them to be.
How much touring did you do for the first album?
Not much. First record, what we did, America.
Well, we
half
did,
of America.
Really, what we would do is we would do regional weekends where we'd go hit 2 or 3 Texas dates. You know, maybe go to Atlanta or Memphis. Really, kind of
Locally.
southern,
Yeah.
where we could afford to go play. Pensacola Beach, Florida. Financially, we did what we could on a shoestring budget, and we really only toured Europe, and it was a small club tour kind of thing, maybe 1 or 2 bigger shows where we're thrown onto a bill with some bigger bands. Otherwise, we didn't do any real touring until the law.
Now, after all, how much impact do you think that album made? Your first record?
How much of an impact?
Yeah.
At what point?
Any.
That's the thing.
Between now and then.
Yeah, because I think back then,
Yeah.
like in real time, it wasn't making a huge impact. I think it was people were waking up and taking notice, and we definitely had a strong fan base. But I don't think people really understood it until we were gone.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Now, 2 years later, you released your second album, The Law. How would you compare that in regards to your first record? How much progress was there?
Most of it is very different. There's a couple of songs on there that were actually old songs from before Slaughter in the Vatican. When we recorded the Get Rude demo, 2 of the songs on The Law were actually on that demo. And we tweaked one of them a little bit, and the other one pretty much is in the same format, but the progression of the advanced songwriting really took a more complex turn, I think, almost like a prog.
Yeah.
You know, that album gets called groove metal a lot. I think it was a lot more proggy than just groove metal, for sure. I mean, there was no groove metal back then, so we were kind of some of the first ones, I guess, probably that put our foot in the door of that to that degree.
And I kind of went off on a tangent. Like, I think I wanted to, musically, I was challenging myself, like riff-wise.
Yeah, like, songs with 27 parts. I counted them.
Yeah, because he's got to write it. Once I'm done, right, he's got to take it in the back, go do what he does to it, and he's like, fuck, man. What do you got?
We made a drinking game out of it in the bar one night when we were listening to mixes. I was like, let's count the parts, and every time there's a new part, take a swig. By the end of the song, I was like,
No, none left standing.
Yeah, exactly.
How supportive was Roadrunner Records after 2 albums?
Roadrunner Records or Monte Carlo? That's a big difference.
Yeah, I know. That's a very good breakdown.
Monty was always behind us.
And he is to this day.
Yes.
Always full on 100%, and then some. We really kind of had to fight our way to get the attention that we felt like we were worthy of and deserved. Without getting into too much ugly aspect of that, I'm happy to say that if we were to do anything from here on out, it probably would be with a label that isn't really known. So.
Now, also at that time in 1992, the musical tastes changed big time, and you guys kind of got caught in the middle of that. How difficult was it for the band to survive?
I think it was probably, there's a lot of things that go into why bands stay or break up, or, you know, that was definitely, it wasn't the thing, but it was definitely a piece of the puzzle. We were so frustrated up to that point that we weren't getting where we needed to go for whatever reason, and then we, you know, music styles change, and we weren't fitting the mold. You know, death metal was a big thing, and we weren't that. You know, they tried to make us that, but we weren't really that, and that was frustrating too. We didn't really know where we were supposed to be. You know,
we got sandwiched on a lot of smaller death metal festivals, and it was kind of in that era where thrash was kind of on its way out for a minute, and death metal was on the rise. And I think maybe people just didn't know what to do with us. You know, they didn't know how to react sometimes, and that was frustrating to us. We're out there slugging it out in low budget conditions, you know, fighting our way through just like everybody else, and the reaction wasn't always what we hoped it would be, so we would destroy things.
Right. Right, and then, like, you know, you put a bunch of snakes in a van, you know, eventually they're gonna start eating each other. So that's what we did, you know, we started, well, it's your fucking fault, no, it's your goddamn fault, and then, you know, it just, shit happens. It's a lot of little things that add up over a lot of years that can bring, it's never just one fucking thing, and it always takes time, you know. And that was definitely a factor, you know, was that music was changing.
But we're all better now. We don't destroy things anymore.
No, you see?
Not yet. Now, speaking of your records, are they still in print? Are they available?
The 2 albums were re-released on Metal Mind Records out of Poland and remastered, put on Digipack. They did a great job on it. I think there were only 2,000 copies of each, so I don't know if they ever reprinted them. So to answer the question, is anyone like actually printing them now? I believe the answer is no.
Now, today I kind of went on Amazon and checked for the albums, and they're both available for like $50 each.
Yeah, I think those are maybe copies that are pre-existing that I've heard some people say on eBay they go for a really high dollar. So
do you own the rights to these albums at all?
Actually, they gave us some word a couple of weeks ago that they've procured some certain areas of the country and the world, you know, different countries, where they have secured the rights. So our management is working hard on so that they can re-release those records.
Now, a lot of things are being released nowadays from all kinds of directions. Do you guys have anything in the vaults that you maybe will release? Any live, any demos, any outtakes?
We're really still kind of in the beginning phases of all this, so at some point, if we have things that would pop up that we think would not just be a cash grab, but something actually valuable to a fan that they would appreciate, that's actually a true gem of the vault. Otherwise, we don't want to slap the logo on cubic zirconium and push it off.
Exactly.
You know.
So when the band broke up, what was the initial cause of it?
First time, which time?
The first time.
Well, to be honest, I'll take the full blame on that because
I was there.
He was there. He saw it. No, at the time, my daughter was born in 1990. Okay, so.
Well, that's not the first time. But continue.
Right. Oh, you're talking about the first time.
The first.
Holy shit. Well, yeah, that was just an outright fun. I'll take the blame for the first 2. So yeah, me and Chris Nail got in a fucking physical altercation. I was drunk. He did some shit he wasn't supposed to, so I went after him and he quit. And Kyle left too. David left, and we found Jay Saravalo, and then we kind of put it in. And he came back, and then Tank came back, Chris, and then everything was beautiful again. But my daughter was born in 1990. Once we were like really into it and known nationally, it just wasn't jiving, man. I couldn't go on the road anymore and come home deficit money You know, I got a kid to feed. You know, everybody's looking at me like, so anyway, you know, it was me that kind of said, you know what, I don't think I can do this right now. I gotta straighten my shit out, make sure my daughter's taken care of, you know, and handle just life shit. And life always gets in the way of shit like this, you know, it really does.
During the time the band was not active, what did you guys do musically, if anything?
I've always played on and off, man, and written stuff, man, and I have a backlog of ideas and stuff, man. Some of it is pure Exhorder, some of it isn't that at all, some of it is, you know. But I've just kind of been riff collecting, you know, song collecting, you know, so there's a clue.
I was a busy boy.
He was busy.
That's
like,
right.
Oh.
Busy boy.
You've been passing through Chicago.
I did Floodgate. I had a couple of projects called Jones's Lounge and Pitts vs. Preps that were more local New Orleans things, but we recorded some great sounding records. I joined Alabama Thunder Pussy for a couple of years and did an album with them. I've since joined Trouble also. We've done an album, another one slowly in the works, and back to this.
So finally, what lessons of the past can you apply now based on what you know now?
Try and be patient.
Yeah, that's the tough one, man, right?
Yeah.
That's the tough one. You know, I kind of look at it like this, man. For whatever reason, there's so much shit over 30 years to analyze what the real reasons would be. I just know this. Me and this man somehow have not been able to to finish the deal in 3 decades. So I have this new philosophy, is that whatever the manager says to do, is what we do.
It's a huge reason why we hired management.
Yes, and that way, you know, we don't have to worry about all that shit. They got a great plan for us, man. They do great for us, man. So we don't have to sweat all of that. All we have to do is do what we do, and that's all we want to do. You know, is just make music.
I think another thing that we probably both learned is not to settle, not to compromise ourselves, only to agree to do with things that are going to really benefit the band and smart decision making, that sort of thing. That's something that maybe in the past we just didn't know any better by being young and learning the hard way. So this time around we're being a lot smarter and a lot more, we won't do this and we're good with this, and following that course and letting it unravel.
But the politicians do all the politicizing, and the workers just go do the work. We just work and vote. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.